Man, first and foremost, R.I.P. to Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, man. The Princess Bride was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I was a kid when that shit came out. But just seeing the details of their past and just man, that it don't make sense. But the one thing that really stuck out to me is how they passed because they were basically like stabbed repeatedly until their life expired, which is like, like if it would have been done with a firearm, that's kind of easier. You know what I mean? Because you ain't gotta, as a person, if you're using a firearm, you don't have to even look at the person. You can just turn your head and squeeze. It could be a struggle and you can accidentally do it. You could be pointing a firearm at somebody that can accidentally go off, right? When you use a blade, it's intentional from start to finish. And from what they said, they had multiple like puncture wounds. So that means the person that did it had every intent of doing what they did. And they had to get close. They had to, it's messy. It's gonna be fluid going everywhere. And it's intentional. There's no mistaking what you're intending to do when you do that. You get in close and personal, and it's nasty. It's intimate in a way. To find out that it was their own son that did that brings a whole nother level to it because it's like that's like it's evil. It's evil, and just going down. I didn't go completely down the rabbit hole. Just finding out certain things. He struggled with controlled substances, which can be, the thing about when you start doing certain controlled substances like that white stuff and all that, that other shit people be thinking is cool, it changes your brain chemistry. Even smoking a little bit of that herbal essence can change your brain chemistry. It can turn you into a different person. Alcohol can do the same thing. If you get too deep into that alcoholism, it can change who you are as a person. And it's just sad because it made me think of a situation back in the day where somebody I knew got strung out and they did the same thing that Rob Reiner's son did. They did it to their mama and their little brother, but their mama and little brother lived because the little brother actually was able to fight him off, but he ended up injured. And this was somebody that I knew, but we knew that he had started dabbling in certain things and he started becoming a different person. Even later in life, I mean, he passed away, but even later in life, one of the last times I seen him, it was like looking in his eyes, it was like he wasn't there. You feel what I'm saying? I spoke to him briefly, but while as I'm looking at him, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't be around you because you not the person that I remember like when we was in high school. You not the same person. You something else. And sadly, when people go down that path or when they relapse, even though you love somebody, can be your child, a parent, whatever. Once you see that they relapse, sometimes the best thing you can give them is distance. Is distance because sometimes when people get to joning like that, it's like the only thing they care about is getting a fix, and they don't matter who they hurt to get it. And that's what it looks like this situation is. I don't know for sure, but from just on the outside looking in, just hearing the details coming up around that type stuff, it sounded like that's what it was. Dude was he might have relapsed and he was jonesing real bad. And when they get sick, all they trying to do is get something. And they said something like they had an argument, the father and the son, and then it led to that, and that's just sad. And to do that to like your mom and your father, you're gonna have to live with that. And then it's worse, he got siblings. He's not an only child, so he got brothers and sisters, and they gotta live with the fact that you did this. He'll probably never see the light of day, and that's probably for the better, because a person that'll do that to their own parents, like I don't know how you rehabilitate that. But again, like I said, just rest in peace. And just, you know, when you look at the culture, like our culture, it's a lot of stuff that people are doing, like a lot of substances people be singing about and glorifying without really doing the knowledge, man. It ain't really fun and games. And some of the stuff that you do today will change the person you become in the future. Like my auntie passed away, and just having to go around and see people that I came up with, it's people that I know that I came up with that have struggles with addiction. And when you see them, like knowing them back in the day and seeing them now, it's kind of like, damn, it's like night and day. And it makes me think back to like when we was younger, teenagers running the streets, and you had the old junkies we used to make fun of and stuff. But at some point, they wasn't a junkie all their life. At some point, they was a regular person, and something just, I don't know, something was a catalyst to send them down that path. I ain't mean for this video to be long, so I'm gonna just end it right here. And as always, peace.